What's going on, everybody? This is Blockchain Bulls, and today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin price, where we think it can go in the next year or even beyond that. So, we're going to talk about what you need to know about the forecast for where we're headed. So, as you know, Bitcoin has been on the rise here recently. We've seen the price go from in the 70s all the way back up into what we're now seeing around $95,000. The crypto market is waking up. Coins like Sui have really risen to the occasion here recently after a massive sell off. And if you were selling and buying and selling any of the low cap coins or lower cap top 10 coins, you've seen some pretty good gains here recently with swing trading, things like Ripple, Sui, even Solana has gotten a little bit of price action. But really, for me, I would say after 10 plus years in the market, I really feel like if you just stay with Bitcoin with 70% or more of your allocation, you should be doing good. So that's why we're really focused right now on Bitcoin. Yes, it's fun to speculate on Sui and Solana long term because you can hit some lotto tickets with those positions. Who knows? Maybe Sui catches Solana and we see a big rise. But we're going to talk about Bitcoin in this one. If you guys are just tuning in, smash up the likes. I do have a new YouTube channel. It's called Economic News Insights. In that one, we talk about all things related to finance, economics, not just crypto. We do talk about crypto over there, but I'm just saying we're moving beyond that because with the crypto market, it can get stagnant for a little while. That's why I don't make content. Whereas with the financial economic markets and the news and stuff like that, I can stay really active with that pretty consistently because there's so much going on daily with the stock market, with tariffs, with side hustles. I even did a live stream over there talking about side hustles. I did pin that channel to the top. It's called Economic News Insights. If you guys end up searching for it, make sure you type in Economic News Insights channel because it's still buried by the algorithm in the search. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there for those of you who are really big into economics or financial markets like I am. I've been getting into pretty much everything related to that because I look at money as a resource, right? And I want to become more resourceful. So let's talk about the bullish scenarios for Bitcoin. So you can see as more and more global institutions step into Bitcoin, there's a lot of companies out there that are trying to copy MicroStrategy. You've seen that if you type in companies that are copying MicroStrategy, because actually it's now Strategy, they've rebranded, but you can see there's a bunch of new ones that just come up. There's Block, formerly known as Square. There's Galaxy Digital, Marathon Digital, Coinbase, Tether. There's even more than that have come out. There's I think it's called Meta Planet. These are a lot of different coins, or I'm sorry, stocks that are looking to become like MicroStrategy. Metaplanet is one of them that comes to mind. There's Semlar Scientific. There's some out of the Hong Kong area. There's some out of Singapore, I believe. They're not just American companies. So what that means is more inflow, more buying, and they're mostly going into Bitcoin. So this is something that's going to continue to increase the price, not just BlackRock buying and then creating the ETF, but MicroStrategy, it seems like every week or at least every 2 weeks, Michael Saylor is announcing a new buy and he's not stopping. So this is just more and more accumulation of Bitcoin. You almost have to wonder, where's all of these coins going to come from for all of this demand? We even saw states trying to buy into Bitcoin here recently. Arizona was just going to take 10% of their strategic reserve and invest it. We've heard the US government talking about this. The next 4 months, because when Trump announced it 2 months ago, he said in 6 months, we're going to have a policy and procedures ready and available about how the US government is going to approach digital currency. Even Trump's interview 2 days ago, he was talking about the importance of America leading the world in cryptocurrency. So, I mean, the bullish sentiment is there, right? It's just no one knows exactly where we're going to go. But if we're looking at it from this bullish sentiment that exists, you have to look at the price of gold for the market cap. You have to say, okay, what is the gold market cap? Right now, it's $13 trillion. Gold keeps going up. Bitcoin's kind of slowly but surely chomping into that, right? And if it reaches just gold's market cap now, because it wasn't too long ago when gold had a $7 trillion market cap. Bitcoin's almost halfway there now, but that would put the price per coin $650,000 per coin. Okay. But what we're actually anticipating is that as gold continues to go up, Bitcoin will continue to catch up in terms of market share. And then what you end up having is, let's just say gold goes to $10,000 per troy ounce, because, with money printing, QE, quantitative easing, you have lower interest rates, higher interest rates, all the fluctuations in the markets, inflation, all of these things playing a factor. People are going to be getting out of dollars, getting into reserve assets like gold, silver, and of course, Bitcoin, maybe even ETH, if ETH can create a market case as silver to gold or to Bitcoin. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But I mean, that's just if it catches the gold market cap. Do we think it's going to happen? More than likely, it appears to be the case. But right now, I would say bullish scenario in the short term, we're talking within the next 5 years. How realistic is it to see a Bitcoin price between 250,000 to 500,000? Well, I would say let's just look at the inflows, right? You have the ETFs driving the major inflows. You have sovereign wealth funds. You have the strategic reserves by the states, by other countries, by the US government, by China. MicroStrategy doing what they're doing. I mean, more companies copying the MicroStrategy model. And this is going to be something to really pay attention to over the next 3 to 5 years. So, yeah, I don't see why we don't approach, get close to mid-range, almost. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy to see the price of Bitcoin if it gets to $1 million per coin. I mean, that was when I first got into Bitcoin back in 2015. That was always like whoa, could it really go to $1 million? And why was that? Well, because I was buying Bitcoin for $600 back then. And so, I remember watching people talk about it. I'm sure if you've been around Bitcoin for a while, whether you were an investor or someone who's been tracking it, you remember the $1 million coin. Well, it seems like that is really getting closer and closer, and it could happen within the next 10 years, maybe even sooner, especially as the global situation continues to change. People talk about the decoupling from the dollar. They have BRICS, because our country is really going to just go all in and start trusting BRICS. I mean, is BRICS really stable? Does India and China even get along? They're like frenemies. Does Russia and China really get along? Does do all these countries really get along? BRICS, which is basically Brazil, Russia, South Africa, India, and Saudi Arabia, they're like frenemies. And they're friends because their enemy in some regard is the US dollar, right? So it's going to be interesting to see where people decide is the safest safe haven. Is it going to be always gold? Or are they going to look at Bitcoin and say, hey, this is a decentralized network. I can easily buy, sell, and trade, invest in this, and it's secure. Do they look at it like that? And if they do, I mean, it's going to be sky's the limit. This is where you start talking about the Omega candles, the Omni candle, all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens long term with the price of Bitcoin moving forward. But you have to take into consideration US spot ETF, which launched in 2024, global inflation, fiat currency debasement. You have the rising distrust of the traditional banking system. People don't trust the US dollar. They think SWIFT is slow. Swift is an archaic system. It's like sending snail mail when you can just send email. I'm just saying, it's like faxing when you could send an email, right? It's just an old technology. So there's this demand for a newer technology. That's what Swift has, is newer, faster. And then that's why they come in with the CBDCs. But then the US is saying, no, let's just do stable coins because that's pegged to the US dollar. So CBDCs are really a way to decouple from the US dollar, whereas the stablecoin is like saying, hey, no, let's trust the US dollar with these stablecoins. So what ends up happening is Bitcoin and the stablecoins, cryptocurrencies, they end up working together in a symbiotic relationship that actually ends up supporting the US dollar as the global reserve. And then you have also major corporations adding BTC to the balance sheet, copying Tesla. We heard about it. Amazon was considering it. Microsoft was considering it. They didn't actually go through with it. But that conversation always starts, stalls, and then picks back up again. And that's what we're really looking for. But you always have to remember there's Bitcoin scarcity, 21 million coins. How many of them are already lost? Like 4 million are already lost. And then so as MicroStrategy keeps buying up all the Bitcoins, there's the scarcity right there. Metaplanet, BlackRock, U.S. government, all these companies, the Winklevoss twins, Satoshi Nakamoto is the biggest holder. Wow. Bitcoin scarcity. We're at 19 million something right now that have already been mined. But just keep in mind, Bitcoin is a very volatile asset. Prices can go up and they can crash down. I mean, could we see Bitcoin down to 70,000 or below, 55,000 maybe? Yeah, it's possible. It is possible because the swings in the market. But every time Bitcoin has ever gone down to that price, people panicked, all this thought, they thought it was going to zero. What ended up happening? It was an opportunity for you to buy at lower prices. The longer you're in this market, the more you realize that is where we need to be. And people who really scale into Bitcoin, they do dollar cost averaging. But always remember, this is not professional financial advice. You always need to do your own research, but just take into consideration dollar cost averaging. That means when the prices are down or up, you're still just buying, sticking to the plan. And you have to determine whether or not you really believe in Bitcoin long term. So that's what it's going to come down to for those of you who are out there. Like I said, I did create that new channel. I pinned it to the top of this link. I'll put it in the comments below. If you guys want to follow Economic News Insights, that's the new channel where I talk about all things economics. See you guys on the next one. And thanks for watching.